fellow Toastmasters and guests. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good. Okay, so we are all gathered here after a normal routine of the day, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. So we leave this one routine of the day as for as old as we are. Some are 25, some are 40, some are whatever the age is. Okay, we work so hard, we make a lot of money, and we do it for ourselves, right? And why?
Right.
To be happy. But you know what real happiness doesn't lie in money, success, or fame. Real happiness is having ABC. Do you want to know what is ABC of real happiness? Here it is. Attitude of gratitude, being thankful for the smallest things in your life. Okay? Be kind and love yourself. I repeat, be kind and love yourself. And third one is to check your smile. Smile now, and I request the Zoom master to capture this moment. Everyone smiling. Remember to smile even behind the mask. Smile all the time and bring a smile on another person's face. See, so it looks good to see so many smiling faces. All I wish is that your bucket list is always full of this ABC. Let this be your personal mission. The mission of Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills, which in turn fosters self-confidence and personal growth. Thank you, Toastmasters and guests, for joining the 38th meeting of the Vasco Toastmasters Club. We have a few basic rules to follow. We respect each other by refraining ourselves from speaking on politics, sex, and religion. Keep yourself on mute unless you are given an opportunity to speak. Keep your videos on and encourage our speakers with your smiling face. Now, I would request you to use your emojis in the chat box or smile and help me welcome to the frame Mr. President, Toastmaster Abrar. Okay, do you know what is the latest addition in his bucket list? Any guesses? Do we have any swimming coach in the room? He needs a swimming coach. That's on his bucket list.
I am good at swimming.
Okay, Toastmaster Abrar, you will get a coach at the end of the meeting. Over to you.
Thank you, Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Siona. I will surely get in touch with Akansha. I knew that Toastmasters is the right place for everyone to come and network. And here we are, Toastmasters solving all our problems. Distinguished Toastmasters, and all our dear guests present. A very good evening. Toastmasters International is a non-profit organization. It was started back in 1924. Since then, we have a worldwide network of clubs. All these amazing faces that you're seeing right now, just have a look. I know we all have been gazing each other's display pictures to now all these lovely screens and faces. We've now have to understand that these are people not just within Goa, but across the globe, I would say, because we have two of guest Toastmasters who are here. I do not know which club they are from. Hence, to tell maybe in a line or two about Goa Toastmasters, we have got around 10 clubs. We have community clubs and corporate clubs. In community clubs, we have people from various backgrounds who join in order to be better speakers, communicators, and leaders. I appreciate everyone's presence, and I would now like to hear maybe in a line or two from the guests who have joined in. Irfan, should we start with you? Maybe in a line or two. How did you come to know about Toastmasters? What do you do? Could you unmute yourself, please? Irfan, you're not audible. Could you check whether your plugins? Maybe the earphone is an issue. No problem, Irfan. No problem. I think earphone was an issue. Maybe in a line or
Abraham, can
two.
you
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Hello. Abraham,
Yes,
can you
yes,
hear me?
Irfan. Yes, Irfan. Tell us
Yeah.
about yourself.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I am Irfan Ansari, and I work at Indian Directorate of Panchayat as an SBF coordinator. I stay at Dabolim, and how I came to know about Toastmasters through one of my friends in Bangalore. I wanted some advice. He is an MBA. I wanted advice regarding communication skills and some other stuff like this, what Toastmasters. And then he recommended me through website gym, and then I got that list of section location lists. So I found it Vasco, and I was very surprised and plus happy also. It's near to me. So actually, I was initially planning to go to Kolkata. Yeah. Yes, Abrar?
Yes, good to have you. Good to have you. I hope you stay with us for the entire meeting and join in for our mid-section, table topic section.
Yeah.
We have another.
Thanks.
I think we have another guest. We have Nigel in the room. Nigel, quickly, maybe in a line or two about yourself.
Hi everybody. Good evening, and my name is Nigel, and I was introduced to the Toastmasters Club by Sir Ashley. I just asked him what is it about, and he told me come and join and see for yourself. So here I am taking an experience of the club, getting to know y'all, getting to know a little more about y'all. Well, a little bit about me. I am doing my post graduation in sciences, and let's see. I do a little bit of freelancing like Sir Ashley. He is like my guide to me, and
nice.
Good to be here and learn from you.
Thank you very much, Nigel, for joining us. I hope you have a good time, and thank you, Sir Ashley. Do get in all your mentees. Well, for all the other guest Toastmasters who are in the room, we'll hear from you after the evaluations. Moving ahead, I would like to mention that there is a slight change in agenda, and instead of Toastmaster Sonia, we have our area director, Toastmaster Anthony Gomes, who will be our Toastmaster of the day. I would request a proposer and a seconder.
I would like to propose.
And I will second it.
Thank you. Let's quickly dive into it and let's go ahead with the meeting. To everyone who's joining for the first time, Toastmaster Ashley, who is a Toastmaster of the day, is a French professor at Goa University. He was our immediate past president and currently heading our area W. And others, you all know him very well. I would now like to hand it over to Anthony, Toastmaster Anthony. Stage is all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abrar. I was actually looking out for my birth certificate because I thought my name is actually Ashley because twice I had people calling that out to me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, bucket list. The weight of a bucket list, according to me, is measured by your dreams and aspirations. It's what you want to do. It's what you want to overcome. In fact, every element on that list, every element in that bucket list is waiting for the perfect time. It's waiting for the perfect moment and the perfect efforts from our sides. And once it is unlocked, it is definitely going to make a difference in our lives. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Our achievements and our accomplishments come at a cost. And that cost is something that is waiting for us in, through that bucket list. As Toastmasters, I think the bucket list of many of, the orators, the communicators, is not only to better themselves at communication or at leadership, but is to use that as a tool to eventually become a person of substance. And to do that, there are various elements that kind of propel us into becoming what we are. One of the things that, for the benefit of all the members, all the guests here, is that a meeting in itself, attending a regular meeting, provides inputs to what we become eventually. I'll take you on this trip with me today. We have with us into the meeting setup various role players. 3 of them who we consider, or rather I would consider, the Holy Trinity, because they are the ones who seem to do, the unconventionally small roles, but it is something that really adds value to us as Toastmasters and eventually as human beings when we look into ourselves as a person. Like I was saying, I wish to introduce to you this first person, who is Akshay Bangle, Toastmaster Akshay Bangle, who is going to help us being the grammarian. He is a student of English at Goa University doing his master's, and he'll be completing it soon. So he's going to be a Toastmaster with a master's degree, and someone who I think has the best listening skills, more than even me. He's someone who would tell you exactly when what has happened. I wish I had, an inch, or let's say, even a part of what he can do with his listening skills. So I wish to welcome him now in front of you and to tell us in a minute or two about what his role as a grammarian is. May I request you to put your hands together for our grammarian Toastmaster Akshay Bangle.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. We are saying English is a funny language, and it's also quoted by our famous personality, that is our own Big B, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. Yes, I do agree with him. English is very funny language. It's very difficult to comprehend, but we should learn it. If you want to comprehend more English, that's why grammarian is more important. And it's my duty to explain this role. First of all, I'll be paying more attention upon the good usage, not so good usage. And finally, I'm going to introduce the word of the day. Yes, the word of the day is cherish, which means we should always to remember everything. For example, I would say 7th of August is one of the cherishing day for Vasco Toastmasters Club members for their chartering the club for the first time. Now, I request you all to use this word of the day during your speech. I'll back with my report when called upon by the general evaluator at the end of the meeting. Over to you, acting Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Anthony.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshay. Well, our guest, Irfan Nigel, this was our grammarian who we really cherish because it is this role player who provides us with a repository and a word bank of various terminologies and how to improve our language. Moving ahead, a bucket list is what keeps us going. It's like a stepping stone to our dreams. However, if at all we find breaks there, it kind of poses as an impediment to what we really want to do. Similarly, when we speak, there are a couple of elements that kind of hinder our smooth progress of communication. And to help us avoid that, we have with us our R counter. In the role of R counter, we have with us Toastmaster Aarti Iyer, who's got a wonderful warm paint in her clinic. She's a clinical psychologist. She's someone who I've always seen smiling. She is someone who makes me feel good about myself with the kind of aura that she brings to the room. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and with smiles and smiles for our counter, Toastmaster Aarti Iyer.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anthony. Anthony, yes. You truly made my evening. I'm feeling specialer if I could create my own word. But yes, now imagine right on top of your bucket list is winning the Best Employee Award. And you toiled for it. Finally, the day has arrived. You are there in front of hundreds of other employees who look at you with absolute jealousy, wondering, there, look, I don't know what he or she has that I don't. And you just look at them, walk up to the stage to collect the award you worked hard for. The mic right in front of you, you start off to say the words that you always dreamt of, that you repeated in your head over and over again. The moment has arrived. You start your speech, and unfortunately, more than the speech, you end up with ahs and ums. Can you even imagine the entire moment getting fizzled off because of these clutch words? A very good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests. As the R counter for today, I will be listening to all your speeches, all your interactions very, very closely. And I have a chart on which I will be making note of the number of crutch words that you use. Words that we very commonly use to fill up the gaps, like ums, ahs, or certain words that we keep repeating over and over again. The most common words, apart from ahs and ums, are and, well, but, and then once we finish off with our entire speeches, the table topics, and all the other communications, I will come back when the general evaluator calls for the report and share the spreadsheet so that we know where we have flawed and how we can get better. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster Anthony.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aarti, for that wonderful explanation about the role. Surely, I think with crutches, we can walk well, but a confident person who walks with all pride without crutches. Ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on to our next and the final role player in this section, and that is the timer. Imagine you have something to accomplish on your bucket list, and you don't do it in a timely fashion. Probably it is not in your bucket list, it's in your barrel list, because it took too long to come out of that, to get knocked off from the list. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us our timer for today. That is Toastmaster Usha. Now, Toastmaster Usha, I still remember the initial conversations with her, the time when she first joined. I remember sharing with her a book when she wanted to read. Eventually, I saw her in taking roles and responsibilities at the contest, wherein I thought maybe, it was too soon for her. And she delivered to her best possible way. And ladies and gentlemen, that is our timer Usha for you. Today, as she tells us the importance of time, let us also see in her the importance and the difference that Toastmaster makes. Over to you, Toastmaster Usha. I wish I was Usha, but probably the spotlight can go to her. Yeah. Usha, you're muted. You unmute yourself, please.
Hello everyone, I'm Toastmaster Usha, the timer for today's meeting. As a timer, my duty is to note down all the time spent by each speaker and alert them how much time they have left with them. Using my timer cards, which I'm going to share with you. So for a prepared speech session, the time limit shall be 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, I'll raise the green card. At 5 minutes, 30 seconds, I'll raise yellow card. At 6 minutes, I'll raise the red card, which indicates time had finished for the speaker. And for table topics session, that will be for 1 minute. 1 to 2 minutes maximum, and at 1 minute I'm going to raise green card. 1 minute 30 seconds I'll raise yellow card, and at 2 minutes I'll raise red card. Okay, and for evaluation session, that will be 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes I'll raise green card, 2 minutes 30 seconds yellow card, and 3 minutes red card. And at the end of the meeting, I'll present my report and once called upon the general evaluator. Over to you, Toastmaster Anthony.
Thank you, Toastmaster Usha. May I request Zoomaster? Yeah, thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our guest Irfan and Nigel. If these were the role players, we're coming to what a Toastmaster actually does now. You see, the meeting is divided into 3 parts. Now, one of the main parts is called the prepared speech section. Now, when you say prepared, what are they prepared for? Toastmaster setting has an educational path, an educational, parkour, wherein you go through it, you learn, you develop. Every path has a project or projects, and these projects are to be fulfilled by a member at his own pace. So today we have 2 speakers. These speakers are trying to meet the objectives of their projects that they have chosen by delivering a speech. Now, these speeches are prepared because they are timed, they have an objective, and they will be evaluated. Each speaker will have an evaluator who would give them, the speakers, right advice and right observations and how they could improve. And that's how Toastmasters works its magic without looking like a club or like a school or an institution, which is educational in its conventional nature. So to start with, we have with us our first speaker. Our first speaker is Toastmaster Shukr Usgaonkar from YMCA Club. Now, from what I know about Shukr Usgaonkar, he is an author, and I have also seen some of his books because Shukr's brother is my colleague at the university, and I remember him giving me a book, and I remember reading what Shukr has written. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you think Toastmasters is all about making good orators, it also makes good writers. So, I wish you all the best, Shukr. And to go ahead with his evaluation, may I request my own mentee, Toastmaster Ashley Fernandez, to please read out the objectives of Shukr's project today. Over to you, Toastmaster Ashley.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anthony, and I'm so happy to be back, and I cherish every moment and every meeting that we are together. Our speaker today, Toastmaster Shukr Usgaonkar, is doing his level 1 the project 2 of the path Persuasive Influence. This speech, the purpose of this project is to learn or review basic methods of writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. The title of his speech is Biryani Life, and I'm sure it's going to be delicious. So all the best, Toastmaster Shukr.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ashley. May I request the speaker, Toastmaster Shukr, to please do an audio video check?
Yes. Am I audible and
Yes.
am I visible?
Yes, loud and clear. Good. Can we confirm with the timer if can you see the screens?
Yes. You can see a white card right now.
Yes. White. Can you change it?
Green.
Yes.
Yellow.
Right.
And red.
Thank you so much. For all the ones who are connected from their laptops, I would request you to change the view to side-by-side speaker view. And if you could just pin a speaker, that way you would have a better view of the speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start with our first speech. We have Toastmaster Shukr, the Biryani Life. The Biryani Life, Toastmaster Shukr.
Good evening, everyone. During a party, one well-known chef cooked very tasty biryani. As soon as the biryani was ready, its aroma spread all over. Everyone was eager to taste the biryani. But just as everyone was about to take the first bite, the chef came out and said, "Folks, there is a small stone in the biryani. As it was of the same size and color as the rice, it was difficult for me to find it. So be careful. The stone might hurt your teeth or you might swallow it." And he went back. The flavor of the biryani was good. The taste was great, but the fun of eating was gone. No one was paying attention to the taste of the biryani. There was no talk, no gossip, and no fun. Everyone ate the food silently. Even the last bite was taken carefully. After the meal was completed, everyone sighed a relief for not getting the stone. They washed their hands, and just then someone noticed that no one got the stone. So they called the chef and asked him, "Hey, you said that one of us would get the stone while eating, but nobody got it." The chef said, "While preparing the biryani, I had removed most of the stones. But if by mistake one stone was left, I wanted to warn you. What if? You never know." That was his response. People started looking at each other. There was no discussion about the delicious biryani. Everyone was exhausted after the meal. I'm sure many of you can relate to this experience. We have this wonderful biryani called life. But unfortunately, for the last 18 months, we have not been able to enjoy this biryani life due to this small stone called Corona. What if I get the stone while eating? The possibility of the stone has stopped us from enjoying this biryani life. And the chef is our media. Toastmasters and guests, there is a difference between being in a constant worried state all the time and being careful. Being careful helps, but constant worrying is unhealthy. There is something called the worried well syndrome. Have any of you heard of it? It's a medical term, and it is used to refer to those people who, though are relatively healthy, believe that they are ill or likely to fall ill due to the situation. I'm sure many of you must have gone through this during the peak COVID times. Even if it's a small cough, the first thought is, am I COVID positive? And then you consult Dr. Google, and Dr. Google shows you all kinds of results which make you more confused and more worried. This worried well syndrome became popular during the 1980s when governments all across the world were doing AIDS awareness campaigns. Everyone was petrified about AIDS. Many people started visiting hospitals for consultations and HIV tests. This was during the 80s, but today we hardly see any AIDS awareness campaigns. So this got me thinking, what happened to this virus? So I went to the WHO website, and according to World Health Organization data, there are 37.7 million people living with HIV right now. In 2020, around 680,000 people lost their lives on account of HIV-related illness. This is the actual data on record. The number of people who actually might have died on account of HIV might be even more. But today, nobody talks about AIDS. Maybe it's because it's an old generation virus, and we have a new kid on the block, that is COVID-19. Friends, I agree. Thanks to the media, there is a lot of uncertainty and anxiety surrounding COVID-19. The media's message is very clear. Be afraid. Be afraid, because fear is a strong emotion. If you scare people, you get attention. Every day, they're counting the number of COVID affected people, and it's on the front page of all newspapers. Every day, they are reminding us about the stones in our biryani. Let me give you some perspective. In India, we have 1.41 billion people. The last time I checked the website of the Ministry of Health, the number of active COVID cases was 3.82 crore. That's just 0.027%. But despite this, the entire country is worried and scared. See, if you want to worry, you can worry about anything and everything. Road accidents claim lakhs of lives every year. But that's not stopping people from taking out their cars. The media conveniently packages and shows what it wants to show in order to instill fear. Before I conclude, I would like to narrate a short story. My first trekking expedition was when I was 15 years old. We had an environmental camp, and the school had organized a trekking expedition to the Tamdi Sulla waterfall. When we reached the spot, there was this guy who was telling us about the do's and don'ts about the forest. He was telling us about the do's and don'ts about the forest. He spoke about the flora and the fauna, and before concluding, he made a statement. He said, "I must warn you, there are snakes in the forest." So instead of focusing on the forest and the trek, all our attention went to the snakes in the forest. What if they bite us? We are in a similar situations today. See, I'm not underplaying the seriousness of the current COVID situation. It's normal to feel worried in times of uncertainty, but extreme worrying is bad. In fact, constant worrying weakens our immune system. So instead of worrying, we must be careful. We must take the necessary precautions and follow the safety protocol. But please don't forget to cherish this beautiful biryani called life. Over to the TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shukra. I request all the members to take a minute. We'll have a minute of silence for the evaluator to make his notes. But at the same time, whilst he is critically thinking about his feedback, which is a very integral part, because I still remember somebody saying that feedback is the breakfast of winners. At this point, I want all of you to go to your chats and write to a speaker what he has done best or what you liked about the speech. Trust me, a small adjective, a small word of appreciation takes us a long way. Yeah, you will be part of helping the person to overcome or to meet his or her goals. We'll take a minute to do this, and then we will proceed. Honestly, it would be really nice if you could give your feedback to the speaker. already have the comments coming in. And as you see, for the benefit of the guests, every speech is going to be different. Every speech is going to bring out different elements. It could be informative, it could be funny, it could be something, that's giving us the personal anecdote. It all depends on the path that the Toastmaster has decided to walk on. Timer, if I may take the liberty and go ahead with the next person. I would like to call to the screen our next speaker, speaker number 2, who is Toastmaster Shivani Keni. Now, Toastmaster Shivani Keni is someone who has turned the tables now. There was times she would not answer my calls, now I don't answer hers. Because we are busy, nothing else, because we are busy. But she is someone who I've seen has worked quite intensely in the start when she took up the role of the Vice President Education. I see her back in action now, and I hope the energy will continue. As great as a speaker that you are, I hope leadership will also come along its way. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Shivani Keni, who would be speaking and who would be evaluated by another very wonderful Toastmaster, who's Toastmaster Mansi Iyer. Again, Toastmaster Mansi Iyer, I like listening to you because you have this wonderful way of talking. You see, sometimes I had my teacher in college who said, it's not only about what you say, it's how you say. And the how about you, I think, tops the what. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us invite our evaluator, Toastmaster Mansi, to read out the speech and the project objectives of our speaker, Toastmaster Shivani Keni. Over to you, Mansi.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anthony. And that was such a lovely introduction you gave. I'm really cherishing this. So my target speaker, Toastmaster Shivani, will be completing her level 2, project 2 in Pathway Innovative Planning. Her speech title is Being Smart Human. And her project objectives are for her to practice skills needed to connect with an unfamiliar audience. So she will need to present a topic that is new or unfamiliar to our club members. All the best, Toastmaster Shivani, and over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mansi. Toastmaster Shivani, may I request you to please have the audio video check?
Yes, am I audible?
Yes.
And visible?
Perfect.
Right.
Thank you. Could you also please check the timing cards, timer?
Can you see?
Yes.
Yes.
What color do you see?
Green. I see all colors.
Very colorful, very cheerful. Nice. Okay. Toastmaster Usha, could you please keep the screen on the white slide?
Yes, it is on white slide. You cannot see.
I am assuming that you have put it on full screen mode, but the screen that is being shared is the presentation.
1 second, 1 second.
Yes. Yes. Could you change, please? Yes. Shivani, you can see that?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Well, fellow Toastmasters, our guests, Nigel and Irfan, we're going to start with our second speech, and that is Being Smart Human, Toastmaster Shivani Keni. Toastmaster Shivani Keni with Being Smart Human.
I'm sure all of you know that light travels faster than sound. But do you know what moves faster than the light? Well, it's the stock market. Can you see behind me? It's the stock market. Whoa, what? Stocks investment? Are you crazy? It's risky. Don't do it. It's scary. If you also think in the same direction, then let me clear the concept to you. A stock is nothing but a security. which represents ownership of the corporation. Units of stocks are shared. Buying stocks, you become partial owner of the company. Shivani, this is too technical. What are you talking about? Okay, let me make the concept even more simpler to you. Imagine this. Imagine if before launching iPhone 1, Steve Jobs comes to you and says, I am going to revolutionize the world with my iPhone. I want you to invest 10,000 rupees. And believe me, iPhone will be a billion-dollar company in coming years. What would you say to this? Many of us would say, no, why would I trust you, bearded men? What is even an iPhone? But some of us may actually take this opportunity to be the partial owners of Apple Industries Limited. If today you buy one stock for 1,000 rupees, the stock may either decrease tomorrow and become 800 rupees, or it may double up, making a profit of 100% to 2,000 rupees. OMG, how does this happen? Is there magic involved? Is this illegal? What is this? Actually, the math is pretty simple. By buying stocks of particular company, you aid them financially. So the company can use the financial aid to either increase the production, better quality materials, and expand their human capital. It is as simple as that. So if quality is increasing, production is increasing, then definitely the product will also be better or go better to best. Thereby customers increase and demand for the product also increases. As the demand for product increases, the companies start benefiting more and more, and the price of your stock also increases. And you live happily ever after. But in the worst scenario, if the demand for product doesn't increase, if people stop buying iPhones, then your investment will be low, or the demand or the price of the stock will decrease. As simple as that. Stock market is easy and quick, but at the same time, we need to be a little clever and careful. Here are a few things which we should do before thinking of investing in any company. First, read about or study about the history of the company. Let's say if I actually want to invest in Apple Private Limited, I will like study the history of the company. From where is the company coming? What is the background? Who is the CEO? How is the company functioning? What is the past record of the history? Secondly, research about the current market demands and prospective demands of the product. Are people actually buying iPhones? Are people wanting to buy iPhones? Or is there no demand for the product at all? That will give you clarity whether your investment will grow, whether your money will grow, or will it not grow. And lastly, have faith in the company in which you're investing. Whichever company you choose to invest, whichever stocks you want to buy, don't forget to trust or at least believe in that company before investing. So these are the three things you need to do before investing in any stocks. For instance, with the increased demand for online education and virtual classroom in the lockdown, if you invest in companies like Byju's, Vedantu, and Unacademy, your money will definitely grow. Whereas if you invest in companies like Inox movie theaters or PVR cinemas, then you will really not benefit, considering the pandemic situation. Hence, we need to be a little clever before investing. Personally, before giving this speech, I started investing myself. I made my account. I made an account on share market, and I've invested in Netflix. I've invested in Netflix firm because I know very well that all of us binge watch on Netflix every day, and demand for Netflix is increasing every week or every weekend, especially. Earning from stocks or earning through stocks is not illegal or fraud. It is not something bad. Rather, it is a smart way of earning, smart way of channelizing your money so that it can grow on its own. I think in today's world of Generation Z, the technology, it is very, very easy to buy and sell a stock. You can buy a stock, and if you're dissatisfied with your purchase, you can sell it on your fingertips in seconds. And being smart and working smart, I think that should be a new motto in today's generation. I think all of us should start reading and start investing and start being a smart human. Over to you, Toastmaster Anthony.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shivani. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a minute of silence. Timer, if you could. Yeah, thank you so much. We will have a minute of silence for the evaluator to mark the speaker. All the others, you know what to do. Yeah, provide her with the breakfast. She's the winner. Okay, feedback out there. Ladies and gentlemen, what I also want, and specifically Nigel and Irfan, I would like to tell you that the content of the speech is a byproduct of what the speaker does. We look particularly at the speaker growing with the delivery and other aspects. Every speaker, every time will speak on different topics. So we're not going to refute what the speaker says, but we're going to congratulate and tell the speaker that this is your area of improvement and this is what you have done. Yeah. So I hope you're getting a clearer idea of what Toastmasters is all about. In a few seconds, we will move ahead with the proceedings of this meeting. Okay, thank you for your patience, all of you. Before we go ahead, I would like to confirm with the president if we could have the voting now or later.
Yes, Anthony, we could have it now. I have shared the link in the chat. Yes.
Okay. Before we go ahead with the voting, I would like to confirm with the timer if both the speakers have qualified, which means they have spoken within the time allotted to them. Master Usha? Okay. So since both the speakers have qualified, I request all of you to please click on the link which is in the chat and vote for the best speaker. You can use your own critical analysis, analyzing skills basically, and vote for who you think is the best, for the one who made a difference to you. We will use around 20 seconds for this exercise, and then we shall move ahead. Many times we find that voting doesn't happen in many clubs and many meetings. I personally find voting to be a very important part as a motivational factor for speakers to grow, because it really tells us where we stand vis-a-vis the other person. And that is what really propels us or makes us or motivates us to go ahead. I'm assuming that the voting has been done, and this is what brings us to the end of the prepared speech section. We're now going to the second part. If you think, yes, people can speak because they are prepared, wait for this section, because this is where you will be tested on how well you speak in the spur of the moment, when you are caught off guard, and when you have to speak when you have no idea on which topic. So ladies and gentlemen, to take us ahead with the table topic session, we have with us our Toastmaster Akanksha Parihar. Now, Toastmaster Akanksha Parihar is not only a beautiful person with a beautiful personality, but she's someone who's got beautiful storytelling skills. I still remember her speech that she had delivered at the content. And I was wondering, where was this girl hiding? Because she has really got the nerve of every listener comes to what would work in storytelling. Today, as she steps into the role of a table topics master, we will see how she takes us through this section. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for a wonderful table topics master, Toastmaster Akanksha Parihar, with all cheer. Over to you.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Anthony. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests. As introduced by our Toastmaster of the day, I am Toastmaster Akanksha, your table topics master for the evening. And I welcome you all to the table topics round. So table topics is nothing but an impromptu speech session, or shall I say, the fun segment of the Toastmasters meeting. But is it really that fun though? I doubt. You know, I recently attended a meeting at the ICT Toastmasters Club. I was supposed to give a speech there, and I cherished my time over there. However, there was this one particular point which I really liked, which was brought out by the table topics master. So he said, more than the fun, it is actually the dreadful aspect of the Toastmasters meeting. And no wonder we don't have many volunteers for it. And I thought, why not bring this level of honesty to our club? And here I am. And since the theme for our meeting is bucket list, I believe we should all have acing the table topics on our bucket list, right? And the only way we can achieve this is through practicing, as practice makes man perfect. The more we practice, the better we get at it. And in order to do that, I decided to relax the atmosphere for the table topics today. So how am I intending to do it? Now, ideally, we have someone volunteer for the table topics, or to be honest, I have to pick someone in most cases, and I give them a topic up front on which they're supposed to speak for a minimum of 1 minute and a maximum of 2. However, for today's meeting, in order to ease out the atmosphere, I thought to give them the topics in advance, which is now, as everyone would get an idea of the list of topics we have for the meeting and will be more prepared, more confident, and more willing to volunteer for the table topics. And since I've eased it out to such an extent, I highly encourage our guests to kindly volunteer for the table topics round. So let's begin. I am planning to share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So for today's table topics, I have decided to go for the spin the wheel, which is what should my bucket list include? And for the benefit of our guest, I would want a Toastmaster to come for the first round and test his fortune.
Toastmaster Akanksha, can I volunteer?
Sure. Hello?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So here, let's see. So your bucket list should include learning a dance form. Is there a dance form you have in mind?
No, not really. Not really.
So what would which dance form would you prefer to learn? Now that this is an item you should include.
Okay, okay. No, just seeing, as the time started of the table topics,
No, it has not started. Once you start speaking, then only.
Okay, okay. So please let me know when I should start.
Okay, you are ready?
Yeah, that's true to the spirit of table topics. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You can start now.
So many of us think that dance is something which you do in your spare time, and it's to a large extent considered as something which is something you do as a hobby, something as a recreation. But to be honest, dance is also a form of exercise, which I believe. And learning a dance form is, though has not been on my bucket list, I would certainly consider learning a dance form. Though I don't have much knowledge about the realm of dance, but any form, but one form of dance which I would certainly consider learning is a solo dance. I have seen some dancers such as Michael Jackson and Prabhu Deva, and I've been truly mesmerized by their agility and their ability to move their body parts in such a manner and leave the audience amazed. So that is one form of dance which learning of which is certainly on my bucket list. Thank you.
That was great, Toastmaster Shukra. I really hope that you learn a dance form and take it off from your bucket list. So, any guests would like to volunteer for the next topic? Guest Gajanan. Would you like to volunteer? We have 3 guests.
Toastmaster Gajanan, would you like to volunteer?
Hello.
Hello.
What is the topic?
Okay, let's see. So let's see, what do you get? So your bucket list should include playing a paintball game. Have you ever played a paintball game, Toastmaster Gajanan?
No, never. What it is actually? Just tell me.
So it is basically like, it is a field game, first of all, which is played in teams.
Okay.
And you're
Okay.
given guns, which is loaded with paint. So basically, instead of a shot, you have to shoot the other person. And the shot includes paint and it hits pretty hard.
Okay. So
That's your
play a pinball game.
Toastmaster Gajanan,
Okay, just give me.
I'm
Pardon me.
sharing my screen, timer card.
Yeah. I can't see, but yeah, now I can see.
You can see.
Yeah.
Toastmaster Gajanan, you can see.
Yeah. Keep it in
Now you
the
can see.
slideshow mode.
Yes, slideshow. Toastmaster Gajanan, can you tell me which color you can see now?
It's white, but it is still not in the slideshow mode.
One minute. Now is it visible?
Yeah, it is visible. Okay, should I start?
Toastmaster Gajanan, is it visible?
Yeah, it is visible now.
White color.
Yeah.
Okay, now we can start.
Okay. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. The topic what I received now is adding a ping ball game in my bucket list. I don't exactly remember that I ever had played this type of game in my childhood. But we used to play a lot of games which are, I would say, village, which were very popular in villages. But I don't know the English name of that. One of them was very popular. It's called Lobio, and this game was something we used to use some coins and then hit the ball, and then there were two teams, and one team was dominant. The team the ball, and it was a sort of ping pong game, and it was very adventurous. I still remember till 7th standard we used to play this type of game, and then slowly I diverted into cricket. And till 10th standard, 12th standard in my college days, I used to play a lot of cricket, and then finally started working. Then I don't remember I have ever played this game, but the topic master had given me a very nice suggestion to include this in my bucket list. So surely that if I get the opportunity, and if I have somebody who will play me this game, then I will surely to try at least for one day. Thank you, Toastmaster.
That was great, Toastmaster Gajanan. I actually never heard the name of the game that you mentioned playing in your childhood, and you never heard the name of the game that I had mentioned. So I think we both learned about a new game, and that was I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akansha.
So, any other guests who would like to volunteer? Guest Nigel, guest Irfan.
I think I can volunteer.
Okay, guest Irfan. Let's see, what do you get for your bucket list? Yes. Big one. It's a career change. Changing your career to try something unconventional, something totally different from what you're pursuing now. So yeah, guess Nigel.
Yeah. So I can start.
Yeah, you may.
Nigel, can you see these timer cards?
Yeah, but then it is not in the presentation mode. I can see all cards.
Now you can see.
Yeah, I can see them. I can see the white card now.
Yes, you can start.
Okay. Good evening, respected Toastmasters. The topic given to me is something which I was thinking of doing a few years back, but I thought of sticking to one stream. So as I had mentioned earlier, I am doing my master's in microbiology, and it just came to my mind somewhere last year that it was getting too tiring, it was getting too boring, and I thought of doing some other hobbies like gardening. I am a diehard fan of biology, so I like gardening or anything to do with nature or plants. It just gives me a boost. So I was thinking of starting up with something wherein I could grow plants and I could sell it out. But as time passed by, I realized that I should stick to what I had planned eventually, and I did that. And I was not planning to do my master's. I'm doing my master's in microbiology, but at the same time, I'm also maintaining the gardener in me, and I do a little bit of gardening, and it gives me joy. And I think staying close to Mother Nature has helped me a lot. It is beautiful being with Mother Nature, and it gives you peace of mind. Thank you so much.
That was great. That was great, Nigel. My mom is a fan of gardening too, so I know. And she keeps reading about the blogs on gardening and videos on YouTube about gardening. So yeah, if that's your hobby, you can actually start writing a blog maybe on gardening or create content about it.
Yes, maybe I might do that in future.
Yeah. That was great hearing from you. So, timer, do we have time for another round?
Yes, 2 more you can take.
Okay. So,
Can I go? Can I volunteer here?
Toastmaster Akansha,
I think
I would
the
like to
guest
interrupt you.
Irfan was wanting
Yes.
to participate.
Yes.
Okay, is the guest Irfan, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Irfan. Let's see what you get. I'll go vegan for a year. I don't know whether it's going to be hard for you or easy. Let's see. Guest Irfan, you may begin now.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Irfan, can you see this timer card?
Yeah, I see.
You can start now.
Is it on presentation mode?
Yes.
No, it's not on presentation mode. You may want to share it, please.
Not on presentation mode.
It's not on presentation mode. Toastmaster Mission.
Now is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So now you can start.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. My topic for the today, current table topic is going vegan for 1 year. Currently, I am on a vegan diet, not because of health issues, but only because I just wanted to try, and I've already completed 2 months of this vegan diet. But initially, it was too hard for me to start and a vegan diet because I was a pure non-veg fan, but all support from my family and other, especially from my friends, who got into me to this diet, to try to this diet. But my current timings for this diet is also limited only for 3 months. I will just see how the results goes out, and maybe I can, in case it's any positive more, I can continue it for a year or so. Thank you.
Thank you, guest Irfan. I know being a non-vegetarian, it must have been hard for you. But since you have done it for 2 months, and I think you can actually continue it for a year.
No, it's maximum to 3 to 4. I'm still.
Okay. So I think we are done with the table topics round. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akansha. And ladies and gentlemen, that was the table topics round. A round where you're going to speak impromptu, you're caught off guard, and these are the skills which get added to us in Toastmasters when we are part of it. So I hope you had fun. May I request the president to please reshare the link to the voting of the best table topics speaker. But before that, may I request the timer to confirm if all the speakers have qualified?
Yes.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please take 30 seconds to go and vote for the best table topic speaker. I take that everybody has voted for the best table topic speaker. And at this juncture, we end or we come to the end of the second section, that is the table topic section. We are now getting into the third section. Can you imagine students studying all year around and not being evaluated or tested for what they have learned? It would be practically useless, right? And that is something that we will see in this part. Not students, but the ones who have brought out their talents, have put out and made efforts. They're going to be evaluated. They're going to be evaluated because learning should not stop. To lead this session, we have with us a Toastmaster coming all the way from another club. Now, Toastmaster Chandrasekhar, if you see him, you will know that he's all excited and he is already feeling like home. And that is the beauty of Toastmasters. You may be from one club, and this goes out especially to against National and Fun. You may be from one club, but you will feel like a part of all the clubs. You're welcome at any club. In Goa itself, we've got multiple clubs. And thanks to the virtual world, you can virtually attend any meetings anywhere. Today, with a beautiful, or rather a wonderful mustache, we have our general evaluator, Chandrasekhar, who's going to lead the session. Toastmaster Chandrasekhar, over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day. So now to begin with the session, I would first call the evaluator 1, Toastmaster Ashley, to evaluate the first speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Ashley.
Thank you, General Evaluator Chandrasekhar, and good evening, everyone. Timer, can I see the cards, please?
1 minute.
I can see your screen, but it's not in presentation mode. Okay, yes, I can see it now. Yeah. Can I start?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Timer Toastmaster Usha. Wow, the biryani life. The moment I heard and I read about the topic and the title of the speech, I was waiting for something delicious. And Toastmaster Shukri, you indeed served us something very delicious, but not for our stomach. It was for our head, the thought. The moment you started, you hooked us on to this nice story that you told us about. Personally, I love stories. Since my childhood, I've been following stories. And the moment you started yours, it did get everyone's attention to it. When you proceeded with the speech, it had a proper structure, and that is what I liked about the speech. The first thing that got my attention to it was like eating biryani. The moment you put something in your mouth and you're waiting to taste and see what's coming next, was the same thing that happened with your speech as well. I was actually waiting for what is coming next. Well, I must commend you on your voice modulation that you were doing. I remember having the opportunity to experience your first speech, and then it came to a contest also. There has been a tremendous change in the way you speak. Your expressions, your voice modulation was really very good today. And the last thing that I noticed was the third thing is that I could relate to your story. We have all been to a restaurant. We have all been to places where we eat. And this is what happens to us. You know, the moment somebody says something wrong or something taking away our attention, we start thinking of it. And we could all relate to this story that you were telling us. One bit of maybe something you could work on was your pauses. Like when you were narrating the medical thing, the medical terms, the technology, the technical things, maybe you could pause a little bit when you're telling something very technical, which people need to, and slow down. People like me need time to digest medical terms. So maybe pauses would help there. But on and all, I would say this was a nice speech. I enjoyed listening to it, and it was like having biryani. I wanted to know more about it. Thank you very much. Amazing speech. May you have many, many lovely speeches ahead in your Toastmasters journey. Over to you, General Evaluator Chandrasekhar.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ashley, for reminding us for that biryani speech. Now I would like Toastmaster Mansi to give an evaluation for the speaker to Toastmaster Shivani.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chandrasekhar, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Light travels faster than sound, but what travels faster than light? Stock market. I think Toastmaster Shivani met her objectives of presenting a topic that is unfamiliar to the audience really well. I myself am a financial planner, and working in the similar field, I know that this very interesting, familiarly unfamiliar topic needs to be explained exactly in the same simple, non-technical language in which you presented it, Shivani. You started off with a very technical line saying that a stock gives you a part ownership in a company. And before I could make a recommendation note, you sprinkled in a pleasant surprise and said, too technical. Let me give you an example of Steve Jobs. And this rehooked our interest in your speech, just like the stock market. One small recommendation that I could give you is that you could use a very non-technical, pure pictorial presentation that would add a lot more to the speech. It is said that a picture speaks 1,000 words. And when I say a non-technical pictorial presentation, I mean, when you are talking about, I have invested in Netflix because during the lockdown, we all watch movies. Just show a picture of someone sitting and watching movies. So that will immediately register in everyone's mind and the speech will be remembered more. One more thing is that you had really enough ample amount of time. So you could afford to pause a little bit more, reduce the pace of your speech in order to add more dramatics. Overall, I would say that the speech was really well constructed. It had good transitions from one point to another. It was a well-constructed and well-researched speech in extremely simple language, a little bit of pictorial presentation and slightly more dramatics would really pep it even more. Overall, wonderful speech and all the best for the future speeches. I enjoyed it like always. Thank you, and over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mansi, for giving such.
Toastmaster Chandrasekhar, you're breaking. We cannot hear you. At the same time, may I request the timer to take off the screen share? Toastmaster Chandrasekhar, are you with us? Okay, I see that Toastmaster Chandrasekhar has dropped. We could give him maybe a minute or so to join back. President, may I request you to share to check with the General Evaluator if he could join back.
I guess your voice is breaking.
Okay, he's there, yes.
Okay, so I would just try to just let us know whether both of the evaluators are qualified and we can have the voting for both of them.
I would request General Evaluator to have all the votings at the end, please.
Sure. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
So now I would like to call our language evaluator on the stage to give his report.
Thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Chandrasekhar. Very good evening once again to my fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Now, like I promised that I'll be back, so I'm here with my report. So first, I'll be tracing upon the good usage of the language, and then secondly, I'll uh, trace upon the not so good usage, and lastly, I'll be counting the word of the day speakers for today's meeting. So firstly, the good usage, I find one word that is fizzled by Toastmaster Aarti Iyer while she was explaining the R counter role. Toastmaster Anthony used one word that is terminology. Toastmaster Shukra used one phrase that is fear is a part of emotion. And you also used the word syndrome. And Toastmaster Mansi, you used what is a pepit? This pepit something word. I don't know. It's the word you used the word. That was one of the good usage, I would say. And Toastmaster Shivani, you used revolutionized. That word you used. And time comes above. The time is faster than the you said about in the sound. Sorry, life is faster than the sound. That's the one of the phrase I used by Toastmaster Shivani as well as Toastmaster Mansi while evaluating Toastmaster Shivani's speech. Talking about not so good usage today, I found the one that is I was a pure non-veg. You could have one speaker said that. You could have said I was a pure non-vegetarian. You would have said. So that one of the not so good usage, I would say. And someone said manners. You had said manner. I don't know what was that, but which sentence it was. And one of the speakers said, I will be green, yellow, and red. You could have said, I'll be displaying the green card, yellow card, and red card. This is my not so good usage report. And finally, like I would say, the word of the day cherished was used by Toastmaster Anthony, Toastmaster Shukra, Toastmaster Ashley, Toastmaster Akanksha. So these are some of the masters, speakers who used the word of the day, and congratulations to you. And this is my entire report. Sorry, I didn't mention the phrase of the day also. I'm extremely sorry for that. Generally, evaluator, please apologize me. I have to apologize for this. So handing over to you back to Toastmaster Chandrasekhar. Over to you.
I guess the General Evaluator has left the room.
He left the room. Okay, then.
Okay, Akshay, got you.
Yeah, if the general evaluator has left the room, may I request, with your due permission, President, if we could have the other players with their.
Yes, sure. We'll
Thank
go,
you so
go
much.
ahead. Yeah, we'll go ahead and hear from our counter.
Yes. So in the capacity of the Toastmaster of the day, may I request our counter Toastmaster Aarti to please present the report.
Am I audible?
Yes.
All right, so we did all reach up and get there to the stage, but a little more practice will surely help. In order to make the report a little crisp, what I have done is I've just prepared an Excel sheet. I'd like to share it. Okay. So I've broken it into segments where I've had the hours from 0 to 3, 4 to 6, and then the record-breaking performance of certain words. So we have TM Sayana, TM Irfan, and TM Akshay, TM Nigel, TM Anthony, Ashley and Shivani, who've been very restricted with the hours from 0 to 3. TM Shukra, you went a little more than that. From you said the word "are" 5 times. And cheers to you, Toastmaster Gajanan. You used it 7 times. The ums were a little less though. Guest Nigel and TM Gaja used it twice. You know was used by 2 of them, by Toastmaster Anthony and Toastmaster Ashley, 2 and 1 time respectively. And so was used by Shukra at around 2 times. So that was another observation. The ones who went absolutely flawless today were Toastmaster Mansi, Usha, and Akanksha. Another observation that I did have was the word "and" was used multiple times. Very often we use it in places of pauses. So just a recommendation from the R counter front. One is, if we can think before framing the sentence as to what we want to put across, that will help us reduce the pauses and reduce the ands that we use. The second recommendation would be to frame short sentences. We have so many thoughts to fit into one large sentence. So if that can be avoided, the word "and" can also be reduced drastically. So that's all from my side. Over to you, Toastmaster Anthony.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aarti. Toastmaster Chandrasekhar, since you're back, you may take over.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, and apologies for the technical glitches I had. And thank you so much, our counter, for that an amazing report. As I can see, we have written over the master blaster of the meeting as well. So please do allow me to share my screen as well.
Toastmaster Chandrasekhar, we have a report from the timer left.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I forgot about it. So I request timer to come on the stage and share her report.
And as we do that, may I request the R counter to stop sharing the screen, please. Toastmaster Aarti, can we stop sharing the screen?
Just a second, I'm sorry.
It's fine, it's done. Thank you.
Yeah.
You can mute. Yeah.
I'm audible.
Go ahead, Toastmaster Usha. Toastmaster Usha, you're breaking. If you want, you may switch off your camera and speak.
So today, time limit for a prepared speech session is 5 to 3 minutes. Time limit for a prepared speech session was 5 to 7 minutes, and Toastmaster supposed to 7 minutes. Toastmaster Shivani 5 minutes. And since time limit for the table topic session was 2 minutes, 1 minute 47 seconds, Nigel took 1 minute 2 seconds, and Irfan took 1 minute 6 seconds. And for evaluation session, time limit was 2 to 3 minutes. Toastmaster Ashley took 2 minutes 48 seconds, and Toastmaster Mansi took 2 minutes 36 seconds. Thank you. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much.
I guess Toastmaster Chandrasekhar left the meeting, right?
Not really, Akshay. He's right here.
He's right. Okay.
Toastmaster Chandrasekhar. President Abrar, could you just check with Toastmaster Chandrasekhar if he could be back?
Yes.
Okay. In the meanwhile, if you would like to have the guest feedback that we generally do, which generally happens soon after this. President Abrar, if you could just take over, please.
Since the general evaluator has left the room, I think we'll hear from our guest. Nigel, maybe you could tell us how the meeting was.
Well, it was a great experience for me. Something I didn't know about, and I thank Sir Ashley for introducing me to this. So I hope I will be a part of y'all soon, and it was really great. I learned a lot from y'all, and it was really good.
Thank you, Nigel, for joining us. Is our general evaluator back? Okay. Well, we had Irfan as well, right? Irfan, how was the meeting? This is your first time that you're attending.
Yeah. This was a very nice experience to connect with fellow Toastmasters. A really great experience. I'm really looking forward to join.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. I hope you had a good time. Please excuse us for all the technical glitches. Just before the meeting started, I had said that today I think the Murphy's law will apply, and I think he's taken over. However, since the general evaluator is not back, I would like to make a few announcements. This is to all our club members. We are on our way to getting a President's Distinguished Club. We will need one level 1 speaker and 2 level 2 speakers. After that, we are on our way to our DCP points. Second announcement is for all the guests who have joined us. Thank you for joining us. This is Vasco Toastmasters Club, and we would request you to kindly get in touch with Toastmasters Ashley. We are looking out for new members or prospective leads to guest Toastmasters who are here. In case if you have any of your friends or colleagues who would love to join, do ask them to get in touch with Toastmaster Ashley Fernandez. He's our Vice President membership. Do we have a general evaluator?
Toastmaster Abrar, if the general evaluator is not back, may I request you to give him a call, and if you could just keep him on the speaker for part of the evaluation.
Okay.
Yeah. Until then, may I request the timer to please confirm who were the table topic speakers. It was Toastmaster Shukra, Toastmaster Gajanan, our guest Nigel, our guest Irfan. Am I missing out on anyone? The others can remind me as well, please.
No, only 4 participants were there.
Okay. Okay, fine.
Gajanan and Irfan.
Sure. Thank you so much. Okay. So, whilst the president is checking,
he is back. I would request everyone to kindly switch off your videos in order to save bandwidth. We are already late, and I think we need to fasten up.
Sure. Can you all hear me? Sorry, I think I caused too much of inconvenience today. So
no problem.
Sure
no problem. Go ahead, general evaluator.
Thank you so much. So let me start with sharing my report. The meeting actually was an amazing. And let me start with the surgeted arm. Okay. Is someone else speaking? I can hear that person as well. Okay, got it. So we started the meeting bit late, I would say, not just that much, 15 minutes late, but we got it till the end. So it was an amazing meeting. What I really liked about the meeting was Toastmasters Shona started with the gavel, and there was that background music was being played. That's what I really liked. So I completely forgot we started late or something. I have attended a lot of meetings, but I have never seen someone starting the meeting with the gavel. I believe it is done in the physical meeting, so I am willing to attend those one of the meeting. And she also explained in a beautiful way the theme of the meeting. So that's what I really liked. So no recommendation from my side to her. Amazing. Coming to our presiding officer, Toastmaster Abrar, he introduced the theme also. He talked about what is Toastmaster for the benefit of the guest. As there were few guests, he also explained each and everything about the Toastmaster. He took guest introduction, which was new for me. In our club, it is usually done by the sergeant at arms. So that's what I found something new. So no recommendation for presiding officer as well. I will come to the Toastmaster of the day at last. Coming to the timer, Toastmaster Usha, she did an amazing job as a timer. She timed each and everyone perfectly. Only one small suggestion that I would like to give her is we can have a timer cards check even before the meeting, just in order to save the timing. In the middle of the meeting, whenever we were trying to share the screen, what was happening? You were sharing the presentation view, but we were seeing the view where all the cards were there. So I think it happened quite a lot time. So we can avoid doing that by checking the timer cards prior to the meeting. Apart from that, she did an amazing job. Coming to our counter, Toastmaster Aarti, first, what I really liked, how the way she introduced her role with that beautiful story, and how can we imagine what is the response that we get when we speak using the filler counts and filler words. So that's what I really liked. I also saw the report that was actually an amazing, which was divided into the segments, and at the end there were the few names mentioned who were the flawless speakers of the meeting. So I just have one suggestion. I would say what we usually do is we first mention who are the flawless speaker, and then we go into the report. But overall, it was a great report as we could all see it through the eyes. So what an amazing job that you did. Coming to our language evaluator, Toastmaster Akshay, he also did an amazing job, and I believe we will cherish this meeting throughout our life. So what an amazing word. I believe most of us use that word of the day and the phrase of the day. He gave the proper explanation as well. What I really liked in his report was he talked about both good usage and not so good usage of English language. He talked about some good words, he talked about some good phrases. So I don't have any particular recommendation for Toastmaster Akshay, but I have one challenge for Toastmaster Akshay. So whenever for the next time, if you take the role, I want you to find out some figure of speech whenever someone is using it. For example, the speaker one used one figure of speech, biryani of life. Right, so that was one of the figure of speech I could identify. So if next time, if you could identify those figure of speech, that would be an amazing. Coming to evaluator one, Toastmaster Ashley, he also used CRC approach and gave a critical evaluation to the first speaker. That I really enjoyed. The evaluation was really beneficial for everyone. One thing that I saw was recommendation was very less. So I believe you gave 4 commendations, but the recommendation was only 1. So if you can add more recommendation, that would have been better. And one small summary could have been provided. Or at least you should have given one challenge to the speaker, as the speech was so good. In order to give recommendation, even it was tough for me. So you might have given him a challenge for his next speech. Coming to the second evaluator, Toastmaster Mansi, she also did an amazing job. I believe she used a different approach where she gave 1 recommendation and then 1 commendation, 1 recommendation and 1 commendation. So that was actually really good. What I really liked, you talked about how she represented her speech and what were the things that can be improved on. She also gave a captivating summary. So I don't have any recommendation, particularly for Toastmaster Mansi. Amazing job done. Coming to one of the main role players, table topic master. The topics were relatively easy. It was more engaging with the meeting also. You were confident throughout the meeting, and you also explained why attending the table topic is really, really important. One thing that I really liked, first you took one of the members and then you went on to the guest. But I believe we were wasting a bit of time while checking the cards and everything. So if that can be in the sync, we can save a bit on time. Apart from that, you did an amazing job as a table topic master. So no recommendation from my side. Coming to the Toastmaster of the day, which was initially someone else. And on the last part, on the 11th hour, Toastmaster Anthony took that role. And wow, what an amazing job he did. I have seen a meeting whenever Sir Toastmaster of the day is not over there, we get bit of problems over there. But in today's meeting, I didn't find it so. So you did an amazing job. You talked about the theme as well, and you introduced the role players as well. And everything was done in so smooth manner that I don't have any recommendation on that part. Only one small part that we can improve on was the timing. So I wish you should have managed the time in the middle, like while you were speaking. So we should have ended our meeting maybe 10 or 15 minutes later, but that's completely fine. Overall, it was a great meeting and I really enjoyed being over here. Now, one thing in particular that I would like to tell to everyone, that last year I attended this club meeting and that time there was one small education session. I'm not sure, I don't remember the exact name of the speaker, but it was actually really insightful and helpful for me. And it was about English grammar, or we say how to play the role of grammarian. I did it in my club and then we tried to improvise it day by day, and that was actually quite helpful. So the only way to get better is to attend regular meetings, take roles. Doesn't matter if you do a mistake. Toastmaster is the place where we are allowed to do mistakes and we can learn from them. So I would request everyone to take more and more roles, not in your club, then go to different club as well, and try to attend your meetings on regular basis. So this is from my side. Back to you, presiding officer, Toastmaster Abrar.
Thank you, General Evaluator, for your kind inputs. For everyone, am I audible? For everyone or all the guests, and this was our evaluation session. We do evaluations within well-defined methods given by the Toastmasters. Here is a voting link. We will wind up in 3 minutes. We'll take 1 minute for voting. Has everyone voted? And I see one thumbs up from Nigel. What about others? Give me a moment.
Yes, Toastmaster Abrar.
Okay.
Toastmaster Abrar, do you have your hands on the certificate?
Yes, I have. It's done. I will be sharing my screen. Is my screen visible?
Not yet. Yes.
We have a certificate of appreciation to Toastmaster Anthony Gomes for stepping up at the last moment and acing the Toastmasters, one of the most important roles of Toastmasters meeting. Thank you, Toastmaster Anthony. For the best speaker, we have Toastmaster Shivani Kenny. Congratulations,
Hey.
Shivani.
Thank you.
For the best table topic speaker, we have our guest who is a winner here. So, guest, non-Toastmaster guest, Nigel. Congratulations. Good attempt.
Thank you.
For the best speech evaluator, you all can unmute yourself and give out the answers. We have a Toastmaster Mansi Iyer.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Congratulations, Mansi. For the best minor role player, we have Aarti Iyer. Good. Both the winners are sitting in one screen. Congratulations.
Thank you.
For the best major role player, now I want everyone to guess. Okay, it's Toastmaster Anthony
Toastmaster of
Gomes.
the day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone. As the presiding officer, I would officially like to adjourn the meeting. Thank you.